senior season. You're back in the starting role. When did the pro scouts start reaching out to you?
So, um, that's when it comes to the pro folks. They don't necessarily talk. They don't talk to the players, but you start seeing them coming out to practices, and they for the most part they kind of keep their distance, but you know who they are. They have their colors on, um, and you start to see like, oh, it's some scouts out here. They starting to watch us. We're starting to win a little bit. I mean, we were starting to win more or whatever. So now the scouts are coming. They're trying to see who these guys are, trying to see all of us, and yeah, they don't say much, and even which I appreciate. Like our coaches never really told us like, oh, this guy was here to come see you. This guy, they always kind of left that away from us where like we never, our focus was never on like getting to the league or these scouts here for me. It was never about that. So we were just always focused on our goals and getting better every day, trying to win, trying to have an undefeated season and stuff like that. And but the one thing that did happen was agents started reaching out, sports agents. And my senior year, I mean, everybody was calling, especially guys that are like known to like have running backs and stuff like that. They were all reaching out, calling, just hey, some would call like crazy. Some would just call one time, maybe send a text or something and be like, I would love to represent you, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't on the level of some of the other guys that were like for sure first rounders and all that. One, because at that time there were no, I don't think a running back had been drafted in the first round in like 2 years or something, around my senior year. And, or if it was just probably one guy and that was it. So we were, it was never like looked at like, oh, you're going to be that guy. But yeah, that was another journey in itself, just having all these agents reach out. And sometimes I would be like, because they kind of, at school, they also taught us like, you can, y'all can have a conversation, but you can't accept anything from them. Because a lot of times they'll try to throw you money and buy you a car and all this kind of stuff. And that's you like basically signing a contract with them. But at the same time, they don't tell you basically if you go with somebody else, you have to pay them back their money or whatever. This ain't a favor that they're just doing for you. But yeah, it was crazy because I mean, during my senior year, there were dark horse, what they call it, Heisman conversations about, if it was a guy we can put in this conversation, it was me. And so, I mean, I'm at the top of the world at this point, where it's almost basically solidified. I'm gonna make it to the league, and then I ended up tearing my ACL my senior year against Miami. Actually, it was on my birthday too. Um, and after that, I was just like, man, I was honestly in disbelief for a while. I told my coach, uh, actually, my coach called me into his office to tell me that I had torn my ACL or whatever. He got a report from the athletic trainers that I tore it. And I was like, nah, coach, are you sure? Like, I was like, I don't think I tore it. Cause I'm walking, a lot of times like you tear your ACL, you can walk, you feel perfectly fine stuff. I was like, nah, coach, I'm fine. I think I'm good. And he was like, Chris, you tore your ACL. I was like, nah, coach, I don't believe it. He was like, you tore your ACL, you're done for the season. I start crying. I'm like, man, I ain't no way I have 2 season-ending injuries. Like, or 2 back-to-back season-ending injuries, there's no way I'm gonna make it to the league. I go downstairs after I leave Coach Fisher's office, and I went straight to the trainers. I was like, I don't think I tore my ACL. Can we do another MRI or anything? I didn't tear my ACL. And they were like, Chris, you tore it. I was like, no, I didn't. And I had a really good relationship with the trainers and stuff, because I unfortunately spent a lot of time in there with them. And, they were like, Chris, you did. I was like, no, look. And I hopped on one knee and everything. I was like, I'm good, I promise you. They were like, all right, well, because we like you, we'll let you get another MRI. I did another MRI. Of course, it confirmed I tore my ACL. Whatever. So now, like, basically at this point, Coach Fisher said, he was like, look, there's options out there that because you had 2 season-ending injuries, we can possibly try to get you what they call a gray shirt, which I had missed so many games that I basically hadn't played a full season in 2 years, and I would possibly be eligible for another year. He was like, if you want to go down that road, explore that option, then, that's something we can talk about down the line. So I was like, all right, whatever. And from there, started my rehab process. And now it's just about the next level. What I got to do to, get to the next level or whatever, or try my best to, I guess. Try to put my best foot forward. And shortly after, once I started kind of getting a little healthier, I went back up to Coach Fisher, and I was like, hey, I think I'm just going on to the league or whatever, try to see how this thing works out. He was like, you sure? I was like, yeah. I was like, Coach, I said, you still got Devontae and James Wilder here. Like, I was like, it's time for them to get theirs now. It's time for them to make some money, because I've been holding them back. I was like, I've been holding them back basically for 2 years now. Like, it's time to let them go or whatever. And funny story, he was like, he told me, he was like, man, I think you should really explore that, because I got, he was like, this quarterback that we got here as well, he's the real deal. And he was talking about Jameis Winston. And Jameis he had redshirt. He was there already, but he had redshirted. He was like, man, this dude the real deal. Like, I think he really has a chance. And with the guys that are coming back with this team we have, I think we got a chance to hit a national championship. I was like, nah, Coach, I'm good. I'm good. I'ma just go on and try to see how this thing with the league happens. And I didn't have to declare for the draft because I'm a senior, so it was just basically a given that I was gonna be trying to get into the league. And after that, I started making phone calls back to these agents and stuff since my season over. Nobody answered. None of them. I had one I called twice. Well, my parents called. I had them call one time, and I called one time. And both times he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll meet with you. We'll set up a meeting, or whatever." We ended up making it to the Orange Bowl my senior year. We won the ACC championship, so we went to the Orange Bowl. And he was like, "Yeah, we'll set up a meeting. We'll meet in Miami." And I was like, all right, cool. Other agents I called trying to set things up, no answer. No, tried to text them, no answer. Or it was, yeah, we'll set up a meeting. Okay. Get to Miami. The guy didn't show up. Yeah, so one of them didn't show up. Another guy, he set up a meeting. He showed up. He came. He had a brochure, everything about himself or whatever. He didn't have a lot of clients that he represented, which was a little bit of a red flag for me. But I was like, maybe he just got into the game. Maybe he just started or whatever. So, but he came. He showed up, which was great because nobody else showed up. So met with him, talked with him there in Miami, and then that was that. The game was over. We ended up winning the game and stuff. Got back to Tallahassee, started back training again, or rehabbing actually, still. So we're in January at this time. The combine, the NFL combine, is in March. So I get back to Tallahassee, start reaching out to, or trying to, like, call the agent and try to get information about anything. Like, where do I need to go? Do I need to leave here and go train somewhere? Do I need, like, what do I need to do? How do I even get to the combine? Like, how does any of this stuff work? Again, no answer. Stop answer after we met. No answers. Nothing whatsoever. So I'm like stumped at this time. I don't have any representation. I don't know what goes on with anything in the NFL. I don't know how this whole process works or whatever. So I remember I had just started one of my rehab sessions, and our sports psychologist walked in, Trevor Mawad. And he was like, CT, how's everything going? How's your rehab? I was like, shoot, everything going good. Like, I can't complain, whatever. He was like, did you sign an agent yet? And I was like, nah. I said, everybody. I was like, when I got hurt, everybody dropped me. And I was like, nobody's answering the phone. I don't know what to do. He was like, all right. He was like, don't you worry about that. I got you. Literally a day later, an agent called me, and he was like, hey, my name is Jason Shayette. I'm with Sports Stars in New York. He was like, Trevor, my guy Trevor reached out to me. He told me that, you looking for an agent. And he was like, I watched the film on you. He was like, you are a baller. And he was like, this is the plan. We're going to leave. You're going to leave Florida State. You're going to go train it was in Pensacola at this institute that they deal with a lot of ACL guys and stuff. He was like, you're going to go there, you're going to train, you're going to do your rehab there and everything. He was like, I would really love to represent you if you give me the chance. He was like, I don't know if you're going to get drafted. He was like, but I got some connections. I'll be able to at least get you a tryout. I was like, all right, bet. I said, I don't have anybody. It's like, you're my guy. I have, I don't have any options, but I was like, I appreciate you reaching out to me. Even, just by Trevor telling you to reach out, you had a whole plan for me in a day, everything you wanted me to do. And I was like, all right, where do I sign? Because we need to get this ball rolling. We got off the phone or whatever. Couple weeks later, I'm still in Tallahassee. Couple weeks later, check my email, I get an invite to the NFL Combine.
That's dope.
I called my agent, I was like, oh, I got an invite, whatever. He was like, oh man, that's amazing, blah, blah, blah. He started kind of telling me how everything goes or whatever, because he had been in the game for a while. And he was just kind of letting me know how everything goes. And he was like, that's a good sign. He said, it doesn't mean everything, but it means something. That our two back-to-back season-ending injuries, and they still invited you to the combine. That's saying something. So I end up going to getting to Pensacola, doing my rehab, all of that stuff. I get to the combine, and once you get there, they give you your full itinerary, what teams you're meeting with, what time you got to be here, there, whatever. I didn't get any of those podium interviews or anything like that, but I had 2 meetings, only 2, Redskins and Patriots. That was it. I went into the Patriots interview. It was I was nervous anyways, but it was just the weirdest interview I've ever done in my life. Cause like Belichick like sat in the back like you are right now. Light, it's almost like lights beaming on me, and he just like sitting in the back in the dark. Didn't say a word the whole 15 minutes. Didn't say one word until I left, and he shook my hand. I was like, oh my. I mean, it was basically the whole offensive staff in there. McDaniels, the running backs coach, all of them were in there, and it was basically where they were just kind of just quizzing me, asking me questions. I didn't get any of that weird stuff that some people get asked about. I didn't get any questions or anything like that, but it was just nerve-wracking to have somebody like Coach be in a room with somebody like him, and then he didn't say one word the whole time and just stared. And it's like, I gotta give you eye contact, because in my head, like, you're the guy. Like, this is your team. I don't know anything about GMs and owners. You're the head coach, you're the guy. So I was just like, oh, I was ready to leave out of there. I think it went well, because it was a lot of just football questions, how you grew up, where you grew up, whatever. And then got out of there, went to the second meeting. The second one was with the Redskins. And that staff at the time, Mike Shanahan was the head coach, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator, Sean McVay was the tight ends coach, Matt LaFleur was might have been the wide receiver or quarterbacks coach at the time. The running back coach was in there, Bobby Turner. And that one went good. Like, everybody talked to me. It was normal. They asked normal questions as well. They just kind of put some little stuff up on film, but they really kept it pretty basic. I think it was more so just kind of test me to see if I sounded nervous, how I respond to the questions that they were giving me. It was cool. It was a breeze. And then that was done. That was it. Combine time. After that, it was like you had extra meeting time where, like, it was this big, like, this huge, like, ballroom. All the teams and their coaches were there. And it was more of a sit down at a table, one-on-one, let's talk football type thing. So I met a few coaches there. One, Minnesota, it was like Minnesota's running back coach, Deuce Staley, who was the Eagles running back coach at the time, and Redskins running backs coach. And he was like, the Redskins running back coach was like, hey, tell me, like, what's your favorite plays? What plays you like? And I would tell him, but then he was like, draw it up for me and draw a defense. And I was like, oh, shoot. Thankfully, I know all this stuff. But he was like, let me see. I want to see what you really, truly know. And so I was able to write up those run plays, the blocking assignments for the offensive linemen, who they're going, what their true assignments were. And he wanted my favorite pass play, what my blocking assignments were as a running back. I knew all the routes for the receivers, the tight end. and he like gave me this look where like he would always like kind of like slightly close one eye, and that's when you know like after being around him for a while, he likes you and he knows you know your stuff. And he was like, all right, okay. And then after that, that was pretty much done. Then it went to the on-field stuff. I called my agent. Like at the time, I had started jumping. I was only 3 or 4 months out from my ACL. I had started jumping, so I called him. Like literally, I'm about to step up and do the vertical jump. And I called him. I was like, should I do this? And he was like, no. I was like, well, I'm only 4 months out. I'm jumping 33 right now. I can, I know I'm gonna be in the middle of the pack off 4 months of an ACL injury. Like that should help me. He was like, nah, don't do it. Sit back. You don't need to do anything. It's like, all right, whatever. He was like, only thing you need to do is bench press. I ended up doing the bench press. I had 21 reps, which was good for me because I was small, I'm smaller. One of the smallest running backs that was there, I think. And he was like, that's all I want you to do. Interviews and do that. That was pretty much that process. And after it was over, I called my agent. I was like, I think it went all right. Like I couldn't show anything on the field or whatever. I said, but the interviews I thought went well. And after that, the Redskins running backs coach he called me like, if not once a week, he called me like once every 2 weeks just to check up on me, just to see how I was doing and stuff like that. And again, I don't know how this process works. So I'm like, there's nothing to it. He just calling. He might want me, as a undrafted free agent or something like that. And as time went on, I mean, we finally get to draft day. And from there, draft day was tough because, again, my agent kept it real with me. He was like, look, I don't know what's going to happen. You may not get drafted. You might. I don't know. So we did like a draft party at my uncle's house, and we actually, I think, if I remember correctly, I think we did do it for, I don't think we did it for the first day. I think we did it for the second and third day of the draft. And second day fell through, and that was the second, third, fourth round guys, I think. And then day 3 came around, and we had like the local news and stuff was there, and they were asking me questions. We were kind of having interviews like during the process and stuff. I had a lot of family, a lot of friends and stuff there at the time, and I was just kind of like, I was holding out hope that I'm get my name called, but I'm like, I don't think anything gonna happen. So I called my agent. I was like, what does this process even look like from here? And he was like, well, what happened is a lot of times is teams will call you and they'll tell you that they're gonna take you with this pick. And he was like, they'll get off the phone with you and they'll end up picking somebody else. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, it happens all the time. Guys get calls and they don't get picked up. And I was like, all right. All right, whatever. But I'm just like checking my phone every 5-10 minutes. I'm like, I gotta be getting a phone call. Like, I need somebody to call me. Like, and get into the 5th round, and I literally received one phone call through the whole process. And it was Coach Shanahan, and he was like, first thing he said to me is, Mike Shanahan, how would you like to be a Redskin? And I was like, I would love that. And he was like, we're about to pick you right now. And then my name popped up on the screen. And it was like, that was like the best feeling in the world, because it was like everything I went through in college with the injuries and stuff, it still somehow ended up working out. even when everybody, all the agents dropped off for me. I don't have money to pay for myself to train and, go to some of the best places to get the proper training and stuff to help me along the way. And this one guy stepped in and was like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna take a chance on you. Everything the training, the rehab that I'm paying for, it's on me. You don't owe me anything. This is on me. If it fall through, it fall through. But I got you, and I'm gonna help you along the way. And like, it worked out, and I still got the same agent to this day. Like, I would never switch up on him, because he gave me he helped give me a opportunity that I thought was just lost. And yeah, I'll never, forget that day. I'll never forget that whole process, because it helped make me grateful, very grateful for like everything that I have and I had, and all the opportunities that were given to me, from that point on.
Man, shout out to all the good agents, man, the non-predatory agents, man, because we wouldn't be sitting across the table from this man right now,
right,
if it wasn't for a non-predatory good agent that just wanted to see you win, brother. So shout out to that man, brother.